Hey all, took a break from movies to watch the CW Flash TV series finale. The CW Flash was the best when it launched in 2014 and have fond memories of watching some of my favorite live-action comic book stories and scenes in my life. It wrapped up its 9th season and some of the middle to end was a little shaky, re-jumping the shark over and over again. But I thought it was revolutionary and I still appreciate the last decade. With the 9th season, the last 4 episodes became a 4-part finale called AO is my quick recap of each episode and I will come back with a quick review. Part 1. Reunions. Chester Runk gives Allegra Garcia her first suit and Iris receives a Pulitzer nomination. If you haven't watched The Flash in a while, yeah, Teen Flash has changed quite a bit. Just go with it. Think of Chester as a poor man Cisco and Allegra as a younger, hotter Caitlin Frost. Barry Allen gets transported to the day Nora Allen dies. He goes to Joe West for help and later sees his parents but is knocked unconscious by Eobard Thawne. Eobard Thawne of course is the Reverse Flash. While investigating, Joe finds a blue crystal and becomes possessed. After being hospitalized and having lunch with his parents, Barry is approached by Thawne, who gloats about him being unable to stop his plan to kill Barry's younger self. Barry returns to the hospital and says goodbye to his parents. The possessed Joe then attacks him, stating that he is not the new negative Speed Force avatar but still wants to correct the imbalance Barry's legacy leaves on the line. Barry frees Joe and returns him to his car, but the crystal disappears. Barry then participates in the fight in which Reverse Flash kills Nora Allen, warning his earlier self not to interfere. Afterwards, Barry tells Thawne that he has made peace with Nora's death before he is transported away again, and Thawne loses his powers. Elsewhere, a man resembling Eddie Thawne is struck by lightning at Mercury Labs, finds a file about Eddie's death, and wonders who he is. The first thing I would have thought after getting struck by lightning was where did that mother effing lightning come from and not a stupid file. Part 2. The Blues. Chester finds traces of cobalt where Barry was taken. Mark returns, but he attacks members of Team Flash and is later shown to be possessed by the crystal. Mark is another Team Flash member but think of him as a poor man's Captain Cold that is sometimes helpful and sometimes not. This time he is someone that is helpful possessed by the negative Speed Force which is not helpful pretending to be helpful. Anyways, after he gets a CCC media, Ki-Eon rescues Taylor and Ares by growing plant cells in their bodies, but their skin turns green. Ki-Eon looks like Caitlin Frost but really isn't. She is a being inhabiting Caitlin's body. When the series first started, I had a crush on Caitlin and wanted to inhabit her body too if you know what I mean. Taylor and Ares flee in horror, and Mark calls Ki-Eon an abomination. Also, Taylor and Ares are nobodies. The Speed Force defends Iris from Mark and explains that he became a vessel for the negative Speed Force. Oh, the Speed Force looks like Barry's mom. This was earlier in the series so hopefully you have seen that. The show likes to reuse actors and actresses, probably budget purposes. After the Speed Force convinces her to embrace her power, Ki-Eon frees Mark by disintegrating and reassembling his body, but the crystal disappears. Barry returns as Iris goes into labor and Ki-Eon makes plans to leave Central City but is pulled away again. Elsewhere, Malcolm Gilmer, Eddie's facsimile, goes to Captain Daisy Corber at the CCPD to learn about Eddie. After hearing a voice telling him to find Iris and seeing Eddie's memories, he breaks into CCC media and digs up Eddie's grave, only to find it empty. He realizes that he is Eddie and pulls out the bullet he shot himself with. Part 3. Changes. Eddie, in a moment of rage, inadvertently sends Corber into a singularity. The Speed Force shows up to warn Team Flash that Barry and the crystal are in 2049 before vanishing. At the film, Eddie sees a girl resembling Nora West Allen claiming to be his daughter, but the real Nora stops him. Team Flash 2049 finds that Eddie is subconsciously opening the singularities. Nora becomes possessed by the crystal and tries to tempt Eddie into accepting its power, but Barry appears and escapes with him. Eddie is angered by how his sacrifice didn't erase the Reverse Flash and how he was forgotten while Barry lived and married Iris. In 2023, Cecile projects her consciousness into her 2049 self, but returns when she learns that she rarely visits Joe due to work. Cecile was the former district attorney who got into a relationship with Joe and is now Joe's hot little baby's mama. Cecile also has powers. It started in the series as mind reading but now, she's a poor man's Professor X. Sorry for all the explanations of the newer characters but if I was confused half-heartedly watching mid-series and on, I'm sure you might be if you haven't seen the entire series. After Chester at Ki-Eon's urging consoles her, she returns and frees Nora from the crystal's influence. Eddie asks 2049 Iris to be with him again, but she rejects him. No wonder Eddie is Breaking Bad. Dude kills himself for the greater good leaving behind the woman he loves only to come back 25 years later to see the woman he loves is married to the dude you basically sacrificed yourself for and when you come back you get rejected again. Like just let me die. Well, as the negative Speed Force begins to fracture the timeline, 2049 Iris talks with pulled away again. Now in possession of the crystal, Eddie accepts its power and opens a portal. Part 4. Finale. Now a speedster known as Cobalt Blue, Eddie resurrects Eobard Thawne, Reverse Flash, Hunter Zolomon, Zoom, Barry Allen, Savai Ta'er and August Hart, Godspeed and gathers them in the negative Speed Force. Just know those were all the bad speedsters over the last 9 seasons. Bummer they couldn't bring the Thinker back. Returning to 2023, Nora fights Savai Ta'er whom she stabs. Cecile adopts her future costume and codename Virtue, and defeats Godspeed. Allegra saves Chester from Eobard, and Jay Garrick steals Eddie's speed. I liked Jay Garrick coming back but I wish they would have made it the CW Justice League coming back to fight if this is truly the end of the Arrowverse. Anyways, Eddie retreats into the negative Speed Force to gain more speed. Not wanting Eddie to die, Barry follows him in and convinces him not to become like Eobard and that they can create a better world by coexisting. Eddie destroys the crystal and says he is happy for Iris, and Barry returns to her at the hospital. All that just so Barry eventually talks Eddie off the ledge. Mark reveals that Chester is a metahuman with black hole powers. Why's he gotta be black? Ha, just kidding. The next morning, Nora is born and Harrison Wells tells Ki-Eon to ascend as the Natural Order's protector. She bids farewell to Team Flash and returns her body to Caitlin. At a celebration 1 week later, Barry apologizes to Caitlin for how they left things and Joe and Cecile get engaged. Barry unleashes a lightning bolt and chooses Avery Ho, Max Mercury and Jess Chambers to become new speedsters, while Barry continues being the Flash. that is it. The 4-part series finale to the CW Flash of 9 seasons. Maybe one of these days I'll go back and rewatch the series with small recaps of all the episodes, but still going to focus on the MCU and eventually DCU movies first. All in all, I didn't hate the finale. Things were really rushed this season with the different fan tributes and cameos. Fitting that the series about a speedster would speed through the finale like this. I did like how we got to wrap up the series all the way from the beginning with the death of Barry's mom. I was having my doubts as the series went along, but I thought they did a fairly good job of that with the scene we saw a million times. Barry's mom dying on screen surpassed the number of times we saw Thomas Wayne and Ben Parker die combined with all the time travel. I like finding Eddie back as Cobalt Blue. Rushed his redemption arc that he really didn't need in the first place since he was basically the hero of season 1. Too bad they couldn't have squeezed the Cobalt Blue timeline in a full or half season with him coming back as a more hero type. Bummer there was no Cisco. And you see the team has changed over a lot. I think he had a scheduling conflict with his Hulu series. They should have at least faked a phone call. Seeing all the previous bad guy speedsters was cool, but they were all defeated so easily. They also missed out on bringing Red Death back too, who was there earlier in the season. Again, all rushed. Also really wish Supergirl, Arrow, Black Lightning and White Canary could have come back to wrap everything up. Of course, who knows if everything is wrapped up the way it ended. Barry seemingly creating 3 more speedsters. Avery Ho, the Chinese Flash of DC, Max Mercury, who was mentioned a million times in the series, finally appears, and Jesse Chambers, which is a head scratcher because we had a Jesse Quick earlier in the series. I guess just go with it. That is it. That is my recap review of CW Flash. RIP to one of the greatest comic book shows in my lifetime. Hope you enjoyed it. Like, comment and subscribe if you